Hey everybody, it is ElCid 932 on YouTube. Let me know if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I set up my mic a little different, but I don't know if y'all can actually hear me. I can hear myself, but I don't know if you can hear me on the World Wide Web. So thank you, Ari. Thank you for the 1 to let me know that you can hear me. I didn't see anything in the post, y'all. I put the post up early for y'all to give me suggestions of topics for us to talk about, because this is, unscripted, or I should say scripted by you, not by me. So let's say hi to Ari and Moondust Angel. Yes, we are having a lovely evening. This is the beginning of the weekend for me. So, I had a decent commute. In Atlanta, that means we had traffic just about, half the time we have traffic. I had a decent commute. So this is the weekend having and spending it with you guys. I didn't see anything there, so I don't know what y'all want to do, because if it's dealer's choice, we certainly can talk about that show Olive, or the YouTube channel. I did send out a request to them to use their footage on YouTube. I don't know how they feel about it. They have not gotten back to me, but I'm just going to use it. Hey, Letitia, glad to have you here. Now, y'all don't judge me. I do not have YouTube Premium at this time. I have all the other streaming services, which I got to peer down. But I do not have YouTube Premium, so if it has an ad, we will take it off screen for a minute. So Ari said she still has an hour worth of work, but working from home. So it's F this work computer. Okay. Is that what we're doing? F this work computer? Is the last hour. How about we say, it's the last hour. We're going to take our lunch on the end. We're going to take lunch hour on the end is what we're doing. So this week we had Cam from Ready to Love. He came for an interview. I hope you all check that out on the channel. It was an awesome interview. And he also interviewed on Little Black Book 91. And we also have our good sis, Just Rhonda 01. She interviewed Hussein from Ready to Love on Tuesday. So it's been a busy interview week in the YouTube streets that we frequent. Are we giving you an excuse? So you done took your lunch already? That was an abbreviated lunch. How about that? That earlier lunch was an abbreviated lunch. So Sunday, we're going to do our unsolicited advice. This is unscripted today. And next week, we start with Alone Season 12. Remember, I told y'all I'm excited about this. I have some new subscribers because of this show. I didn't think the survivalist world would welcome me, but hey, I guess they love to see an amateur. Hey, Samantha, miss y'all so much. A mindset of moving still. So still can't participate. Can't wait to rejoin y'all soon. Thank you so much, Samantha. Yes, we missed you. We missed you at that Cam interview earlier. I knew you would have had some questions. I hope, yes, as Ari says, hope that you're having a smooth moving right now. I can't imagine. It is hot right now. I prefer to move in the fall or spring when it's a little bit cooler and not this steamy hot. It is 90 degrees, okay, where I am. I can't imagine boxing, moving, and doing all kinds of stuff. I just can't. Hey, Debbie, glad to have you. Okay, Moondust Angel tells us she was asked for advice today. She didn't know how to give. When I usually do that, it's either I'll get back to you or I flat out say, hey, I don't really know. I don't know how in depth I can be, but here's my initial thought. So when somebody asks me for advice, I don't know. I don't know. Ari said it's 94 where she is. Samantha, we hope it ain't 94. You ain't got to tell us in the chat. We just talking about the weather out here where we are. But I just can't, The last time I moved, it was movers. I had to pay. I was tired. I was tired of moving. And now keep in mind, y'all, I'd moved this was only the second time in my life I was moving. I had to pay for movers. I did. And I had to pay. I spent the time color coding, making sure all the doors had the colors so that when the was labeled. So when the movers came and moved the boxes, they knew exactly which door to put the boxes behind. Oh, I was organized, but I couldn't lift a thing. Thanks so much, Ari and L. This Vegas heat ain't no joke, girl. I've been to Vegas a few times. Should we talk about that? Since Sam is in Vegas. I've been to Vegas a few times. Ooh. Ooh. Moondust Angel said, my boyfriend's best friend has a son with somebody who cheated on him, and the guy still wants to stay with the mother of his child. My boyfriend wants to tell his bestie to leave her and ask me how he can go about that. I don't know what advice to give him. Your boyfriend or the dude? See, they got to figure it out themselves. What I'm going to say is, can you ever trust her again? Can you have a trusting relationship with her? And I would, he would have to ask her, or she would have to talk. Can she find what she's looking for with this man long term? Because if she can't, then he shouldn't stay with someone who may cheat on him again. That's a catch-22. I know he wants to have a family and be in the same household, but sometimes that's worse for the kid if mama and daddy ain't on the same accord. Sometimes, I know what he probably just wants to be with the mother of his child. And I understand, but sometimes that ain't exactly what your life calls for. Let's put it that way. This move has me fighting for my life. Not Vegas heat. That's triple-digit dry heat would kill, unalive me. Careful, Ari. You got me reading stuff here. Now, Vegas. Okay, Vegas. The first time I went to Vegas with one of my uncles who lives in LA, and we drove to Vegas. Okay, we drove, and this was my second or third time in LA. We drove to Vegas. That was my introduction to Vegas. And we came like in the evening, so you saw the lights from miles out as you were coming in. I'm treating myself to a Magic Mike show after this move. Gotta love our Vegas shows. Girl, you've got to support your local economy. We always say that. Support your local economy. Now, if it is chocolate night at Magic Mike, there are some good red-eye flights from, Atlanta to Vegas that, if it's chocolate night, it's got to be chocolate night. I can't, I could stand a little bit of caramel, but I cannot, I can't go for anything other than, a Vegas night for, caramel or dark chocolate, please. Does it have that kind of night at Magic Mike show? I need that. I think they should figure it out themselves. I feel like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. My boyfriend is only looking out for his best friend. That might not be okay. Yeah, because the best friend got to live his life. Because what if you if you support it and then they don't work out, people want to blame you for what happened. Did what happened in Vegas stay there? Not much happened in Vegas, y'all. My first trip to Vegas was not cute. It was not cute at all. Hey, y'all. Just came back from Vegas. We left before the heat wave. Okay, so it's AKF 350's fault, Samantha. She left the heat wave with the jet engine fuel. She left the heat wave for you, Samantha. So for the whole Vegas thing, I went, y'all. I have oh gosh, I know it's not called vertigo. But when I go into high altitudes, I don't get enough oxygen and I get very dizzy. Now, we learned that the first time I visited my uncle in California and we went to Magic Mountain. Is that what it's called? Or Skull Mountain? Whatever the amusement park is. And at the first ride, I started hyperventilating. And I'm like, why am I haven't walked. So now we're thinking, okay, it could be heart or we just got here. It can't be heat exhaustion. It can't be the heat. We just got here. When I tell you, by the time I got to the actual ride, and for all intents purposes, I'm going to say this very nicely. I barfed. Okay. I barfed before I even got on the ride. So people thought I was actually wasted. And I wasn't. I was just like, what the heck is going on? And this is the uncle who knew about my issues with altitude. So when we went to Vegas, we thinking Vegas is desert. We're not thinking Vegas is in high altitude. So when I get out of the hotel, we're walking and we're having a good time and we're chilling. And by the third or fourth block, because it's long blocks on the main strip, I'm feeling like altitude. I'm hyperventilating. It's like, what's going on? And my uncle's like, we need to check the altitude of Vegas. I'm like, no, Vegas is desert, it's flat. Ain't no altitude for Vegas. And I'm sitting there on the sidewalk. Yo, I got so bad. Again, I barfed. I got so like hyperventilating, head between my knees, dizzy with just walking down the strip for a few blocks. And my uncle is like, yeah, Vegas is high altitude. We got to go back to the room and you got to take meds and then we could have fun tomorrow. Because what it is, I have to take, something to, I guess, open up. It's kind of like what people use for seasickness. I kind of open up my lungs and stuff like that, and I have to get acclimated, and then I can move around and hang around. Whew. What? I thought you might have some fun dancing time with a showgirl or something cool like that. Hey, I love the showgirls. I absolutely love the showgirls. The showgirls, the show guys. Again, my grandparents were entertainers back in the day. So I grew up with a lot of entertainment people around me. So people who come and get glammed up and done up and go to put on a show. Two of my best friends in college danced on the pole to, subsidize their college money. So again, I friends from all walks of life. Are you a party girl? No, I'm not a party girl. I'm not. I go to parties, but I'm not. If you're thinking of party girl as going and being the life of the party, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. If you're thinking that kind of party girl, no. I'll go to parties. I'll go parties with my friends. I'm not posted up on the wall, but I'm very observant. I'm very much, we dancing, we chilling, but I'm looking, where are my exits? Where are the bathrooms? Who's looking fishy around here? Make sure that drink glass is covered, even with your hand, just to be protected as a woman out here in these streets. But I'll go to parties, but parties, I hate to sound old, but back in my day, the party would go, on till dawn. The club didn't close till Mother Nature's lights turned on. So it's like they'll turn the lights on and like, hey, y'all, it's time to go. And you walking out the club, you better not forget your shades. You better be like, ooh, you're gonna be squinting, trying to get home or trying to find your car. But no, not party girl like that. And I certainly didn't drink enough to get myself, incapacitated and not, know where I am. That is one thing. I want to know where I am, who I'm with, and stuff like that. I'm usually a designated driver for friends, so that's usually the best thing. Hey, us as in we seniors need love too. Glad to have you here. AKA 350 says, oh no, ElCid, this sounds horrible. I would never have gone back to Vegas. No, I know it's me. It's me, and it's the altitude for me. It happened to me in Denver. It happened to me actually on the big island of Hawaii. But in Denver and Hawaii, I know when I'm going certain places, like when we went to Portugal, when I went to Spain, anywhere I go that's different, is that I know to check the altitude. Because sometimes even when I'm driving, I know the oxygen levels around are different. So I do breathing exercises and stuff like that. And any place that's over 1,000 feet, above sea level, I know I probably have to take my meds, especially if I'm walking. If I'm doing something that requires more breathing, then yeah, I know. So no, Vegas, Vegas is a good stomping ground. I've been to Vegas quite a few times with that uncle, with friends. Vegas for me is, more than just the shows. Now, what I would not do is, all that stuff with the Usher concert. I'm not doing that. I'm not your girl. The Usher, after party photos and the stuff in the concert, and then Chris Brown. For me, it seems like there's nothing special about it. Once you pay, you can play. And they seem like community property, doing too much. For me, it's just doing. Some people are entertained by it, and I'm like, oh, if it's one of my girls, I'm like, go girl, you get yours. But I'm like, don't come by me and don't touch me. What's the secret to looking so young? It's such beautiful skin. Look like you be in your late 30s. Well, thank you. I'm in my 40s. Okay. I'm in my 40s, and I'm glad you think my skin is clear, but it is not. When I look, I see the imperfections, but I do appreciate the compliment. Um, Moisturizing, that's it, and staying out in the sun. Although I don't do that very well now in the summertime, we have our garden and it's garden time. I have to remember to use my visor and kind of block myself from the sun. Hey K Sharp, glad to have you here. You're listening as you're driving home. Well, drive safe. It's Friday. It's Friday. But no, for since we're talking about Vegas and we're talking about trips and stuff, y'all could let me know where y'all have been. Where have you been? Because I have been a lot of states. I've probably been to 42 or 41 of the 50 states. I think so. And a couple of the territories. Only because I had a job when I was fresh out of college. I was hired and they took me. Hey Chanel, glad to have you here live. Um, I had a job fresh out of college, and I had to basically take a training program around the country, and I had to go around the country twice. So I've been to several major cities, and I would be gone every other weekend from Thursday to Sunday. And when I'm not there, I'm reconciling my travel, prepping my travel for the next go around. So that's why I've seen so many states. And with my first husband, we had a little going joke of whatever license plate we see in New York, when we are together, we will go and visit that state. That's what happened. Played that game. What are some of the things you think that women who enter Love is Blind should actually be looking for? If you aren't married and got an opportunity to enter, I guess what would you be looking for? I'd be looking for somebody who kept their word. That's what I'll be looking for. I just want somebody who would keep their word and just have a good, cool time and talk. Because unless I see you and the chemistry is there, it's all just hearsay and speculation. I would just want to have cool, good conversation. Let's talk. What is your vision for your life? Let's see if it teams up with mine, and just talk and casual. But and I have not been through the experience. I don't know. But I'm also a person who isn't very much too much I love yous all day. So I don't get the whole 10 days together dating and it's love. It's like, yes, there's serious interest. I care about you. I just don't get it. But I'm not the, emotional type. Just curious as to what people think green flags women should be looking for. Green flags. Green flags. Well, how does the man greet you? Okay. How does he speak to you? How does he speak to other people in the midst? My great grandmother was a waitress, and how you treat, wait staff. Now, here's the thing. How he speaks to you, how he treats others. How does he, you see, I fancy intelligence. So do you bring something that I don't know? Like Mr. ElCid brings a whole lot of legalese that I don't know and sometimes not even interested in. And he would bring like, did you know this? And it would just, as they would say, tickle my brain. So I'll be like, oh, okay, you kind of intelligent out here in these streets. You're not just talking about, my 401k or my diversified portfolio or the house that I want or how my woman should be in her place. You're not. As, to go to Africa says intelligence, including emotional intelligence. Exactly. And not be afraid to be vulnerable. And I think one of the hardest things I'm going to tell us ladies, remember we had unsolicited advice. We had that episode with the black bag that the wife found. And I said the conversation she needs to have. We also need to be an open, safe space for the men to talk to and not be too judgy and not act when we hear something. So yes, it may not be for us. It's like, you know what, that really isn't for me. But I think you'll find your person who would be okay with that. And even if like that lady it's 14 years married, she isn't, there's an aspect of married life that her husband wanted that she didn't fulfill, but he never even asked. And I wonder if she would be even open to that. If y'all know Marvin from Ready to Love, Texas, it was either Dallas or Houston version, you'll know what I'm talking about. Having to sign off now for a moving delivery. See y'all soon. Bye, Samantha. We do forgive you, Samantha. I think the problem most women on these shows is that they don't want to be accountable for their own actions, or always want to blame the other person, which is not always the right thing to do. The men and the women, we all need to be accountable. We all need to be accountable, and really dig into our previous dating history and dating past, and see how we may have contributed to the ending of that relationship. It's not just that person. So when I had my therapist, who unfortunately, she passed away years ago. I think it was 3 years now, and I have not replaced her with someone permanent yet, but she has been the family therapist. It's digging into, even if that person was a problem in the relationship, two things: what have you learned, and what did you contribute to this problem? And I gotta, that person's gonna be them. I gotta dig into me. What did I contribute? So if I know this person is going to act up a lot, am I intentionally triggering them, or am I dismissive enough? Because if y'all listen to Little Black Book 91, I'm a dismissive avoidant. Am I dismissive enough that I don't even care what I say if it triggers them to act out, and because I really don't care about them. What I look for is, you have to be intelligent, carry a conversation, please, respectful and honest. Sorry, Ari, that's just how it came out in my head. To go to Africa, wishing Samantha a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I mean to say, don't choose someone that's bad when they whine later that they're bad when they know they were bad, and you still choose them. Goes for both genders, by the way. Sometimes in these shows, I think people just pick someone because they want to stay on the show, quite frankly. Nesto's Shackle Shuffle Walk of Shame. Welcome in. Glad to have you here. I love your avatar photo. Okay, if y'all don't know, that is a chicken's head on a lady. And if you are in the Nesto sector, you will know exactly why Nesto's Shackle Shuffle Walk of Shame has that name and that avatar. So, I can be whiny at times. So, I just think sometimes the people on the show just go and they just want to be on the show. If they find someone, fine. But later on, sometimes I'm like, did you really like this person? Did you really see a future with them? Because in any respect, it's hard to think that 2 weeks you're going to be married to this person. And you got to stay married. You got to hide them from your social media. You got to hide them technically from your family. You got to keep it in secret until the show actually is disclosed. And then you can, say whether you're married, or then you could file for a divorce. I think, this is why I like Married at First Sight Australia, y'all. Okay. This is why I like Married at First Sight Australia. And if y'all know, there's another YouTuber I watch called Wilco. He is from Australia. And he says the trash, mess, and drama. Okay. And they're not technically married. They are in a civil union. So a civil union could be ended at any time. But it ain't the whole rigmarole of getting a prenup and all that and a legally binding marriage. And every week they meet with the experts to talk about the trash, mess, and drama that happened that week. But for me, the people are there, and, sometimes there is a cheating scandal. And for me, it's not really a cheating scandal. But yes, it's, they're not technically married, but they're in a civil union. They're living under the same roof in the building, and the couples get together. And some people want to, there's a swap wives week that either you swap and you stay swapped, or you swap and you swap back. You go back to your original house of residence. And this year they brought where someone else that you could have been paired with, do you want to go on a date with them? Hey, Miss Lorraine. What's my emoji? You know what my emoji is. Let me stop the camera. This is my emoji. My name, ElCid 932. No, I was talking about Nesto's Shackle Shuffle Walk of Shame. Her emoji is a hen's head on a woman's body. Okay. And if you're in Nesto's world, you know exactly why she has that avatar. Come on, Ms. Lorraine, you in that world too. You know exactly why she got that. I ain't saying the name, but it's bringing me to mind the song, Clock Clock Chicken Head. It's bringing that to mind. Yo, this is unscripted. I have no topic planned for unscripted. It is whatever you guys want me to talk about. We started off with travel, and I probably going back to it, but you put in the chat, hey, High Vibe, you put in the chat, what do you want me to talk about? This is the time. I usually put up a post in the week that you can put in there what topics you want us to cover. Or we just come online, we come on live, and we talk, just like we're talking now. So yes, a lot of the places I have visited and traveled to is because of work. And as I say, I will go that was a rough time. I will go every other weekend from Thursday to Sunday to another part of the US. I've been to Cleveland. I've been to Chicago. I've been to Boston. I've been to Hawaii 3 times. I've been to LA. Daggone it. Texas. I've been to Dallas. I've been to San Antonio. I've been to Houston. We went to Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I've been to Charlotte. There are so many places. Even in the, I've been to Denver. I've been to New Hampshire. I actually thought about moving to Manchester, New Hampshire. Manchester, New Hampshire. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I love the live free or unalive, of New Hampshire. Where else? But I really liked Cleveland too. I thought about moving to Chicago. I thought about Poconos, Pennsylvania. But it's just the winters there would just be too tough for me. I've been to all over. I can't even fathom of other places I've been to for work. Now for vacation, like High Vibe says, I need vacay ideas for 2026. Now High Vibe, is it stateside or international? We need to know, because international is another list of places. The one city in Texas you haven't been, I live close to. Yeah, we didn't have a whole bunch of people to give service to in Austin, but I really like San Antonio. And if y'all get to know me, when Tim Duncan was drafted, I bought his San Antonio Spurs jersey that I still have in my closet today. So don't ever talk about San Antonio or retire Tim Duncan. Who do you think one of the worst people who has been in U.S. Love Is Blind? For me, it would have been Carlton, who was fluid and didn't tell Diamond he was fluid. Now, I don't think Carlton is a worse person. I think what Carlton did was wrong and bad. I don't think necessarily he is, and my thought process in many of these things is, how most folks who are religious separate the sin from the sinner. I kind of try to have that mentality. Okay, you did a bad thing, or are you a bad person? So I think Carlton was wrong for doing that. And it doesn't necessarily make him a bad person if y'all, think. But he's absolutely carnage. He is absolutely carnage on Love Is Blind herstory. I just counted. I've only been to 21 states. You've been to over 40. Yeah, I'll have to sit down and go through the states and see where I have been. I've been to Kentucky. I've been to South Carolina. And that's another thing. Oh, if High Vibe, I don't know if you're telling me, because if it's warm weather, Sunset Beach, North Carolina. It's just far enough from Myrtle Beach to be away from the crowd. But I absolutely loved Sunset Beach. We were going and we had a blast at Sunset Beach, North Carolina. Coordinate because ElCid wants to coordinate an international trip next year. Yeah, I want to go to Sweden next year. I really want to go to Sweden next year. My Love Is Blind Sweden folks, I really want to come to Sweden next year. I don't know why people ever married at first sight. They know they're not ready to be married to someone because they take the chance. And I applaud them for it. And they take the chance on camera. Okay? They take the chance on camera. I applaud them for it because even what we don't see, as you saw with Love is Blind Sweden, Jakob and is it Karina? Is his wife's name? Or Christina? Jakob, we thought that they were not even, but they are so wonderful together and with each other. I mean, wow. They are wonderful together. Just need warm weather, little nightlife, day life, not super touristy. Well, if you want 20-minute drive from Myrtle Beach, if you want that kind of thing. South part of Spain, okay, that is jumping and lively. If you go to Malaga, Spain, that will give you, girl, you better hit me up on IG. I have some information. Hey, let's talk about it all. We're talking about it all. I was an au pair in my 20s and in quite a few states in the US. Wow, Chanel. Now, y'all, Chanel is in South Africa. Okay. We have an international and US based group. She is, so tell us, Chanel, should she come to South Africa? Carlton was bad because he knew he wasn't interested in being with a. Yep, he was bad. He was bad. He was bad. He was bad. I was just in Malaga end of April, early May. See, oh my gosh, we talking about Malaga. I'm telling you, y'all, forgive me if anyone is from Spain. Forgive me. Valencia is the top for me in Spain. Absolutely. I had an absolutely amazing trip to Valencia. We were there for like 11 or 12 days. We came in for a conference. My girlfriend went for her conference and I piggyback along. Absolutely beautiful city. I was so much more impressed with Valencia than I was with Madrid and Barcelona. So nobody come for me, please. It was absolutely amazing. Malaga too is absolutely amazing. What I'm saying is a lot of tourists are going to Madrid and to Barcelona, but I'm telling you, Valencia stole my heart. My husband and I, we went to Portugal. We went to Porto and Lisbon. He loves Lisbon. Porto, we can visit, not really go a lot, but we really like Lisbon. We like Coimbra. If I'm not saying it correctly, please, forgive me. But yes, a little bit of nightlife. Yes, Valencia. You could always find a little bit of nightlife. Malaga was beautiful. Ari says Malaga is beautiful. I did see, I think that's where you had like the honey museum, right, Ari? I think they have that over there. Ms. Lorraine said they be slanging in Chanel country. Now talk about chocolate drop. Talk about chocolate drop. The southern part of the Africa. Woo. And that's also why. That is also why I'm also looking at Alone season 12. It's in South Africa. I know the cast doesn't look, all whatever. The cast is not, hot and fine. And most of them are married or in committed relationships. But they are certain, I was hoping that maybe one of the crew or somebody that's dropping them off, because they drop them by helicopter or car to their location. Basically, Alone is a survivalist show. I watch survivalist shows like that and Life Below Zero because I know I wouldn't do the show. I couldn't do the show. It ain't me. It ain't in me to be a survivalist, to have to go hunt and store and then fend off animals for what I just caught for myself, and have to build my shelter and do the fire and find water, boil the water. Alone, the closest person is 10 miles out and the only thing to rescue me is a satellite phone? No. I could watch you. I could talk about you. I could ask questions about what you're doing. But what I cannot do is sign myself up to go on this show. Now, I would like to go on a survivalist like training thing where I can, learn properly how to hunt. I know how to hunt. You know how your family would teach you how to hunt. I know how to hunt. But officially, how the game wardens would want you to hunt, I don't know that. I don't know that. My dream is to travel to South Africa. So to go to Africa, that's why the name, to go to Africa. Have you been to the continent? I used to think your screen name was Togo, Africa. I did used to think that too, AK F-350. I thought it was Togo, Africa. Now, if you're talking about Africa, mm-mm-mm. I would love to go to Namibia. Namibia, which was formerly called Zaire. Now, I'm dating myself. Because that's what the country used to be called when I was a child, and that's what it was on the map. But it's now Namibia. Oh my gosh, I would love to go to Namibia I don't know why Namibia calls to my spirit. I don't know. Based on the exchange rate, the dollar is stronger, so you will get bang for your buck in South Africa. Now, y'all know South Africa have their, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chanel, Dirty December in December, where it is party, 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 party everywhere. You know, you could save that. You know, I'll go when the tourists are not. Okay, I'll go when the tourists, and that's how I travel. I travel when tourists are not around. Hardly. I found out today I have some American ancestry, which is interesting. Well, come on over, Moondust Angel. Come on over and do a pilgrimage. I've been listening to Miriam Makeba and other South Africans since I was a child. Yeah, oh my gosh, I have too. My grandmother used to sing her songs. I would love to visit the motherland and Spain. Yes, you know, as I said, Namibia, I don't know why. For me, the African deserts call to me. I don't understand why. You know, I was born on a Caribbean island, but something about the desert just speaks to me. I've been to South Africa, want to return to the continent, but I have a good length stay beyond 2 weeks. Girl, that's what I did when I went for Hawaii. I went with the family. I said, I went to Hawaii twice for business. It's time. I know about it. It's time for us to go. And my grandfather kept saying, it's so expensive in Hawaii. It's so expensive. Oh my word, it's so expensive. I'm like, no, it's not. Because, you know, I am a bargain shopper, y'all. I am a bargain. It will be quality, but it will be a bargain. So I contacted a few people. You know, I was doing business and I still have my hotel contacts. To this day, my eldest is 24. I have a long-standing relationship with a lot of these folks who are still in the hotel industry. So y'all hit me up on IG if you want those contacts, okay? And I'm free with information. So my girlfriend would do, you know, a very discounted rate for Hawaii, but you have to come when it is not peak season, okay? And not peak season. And one time I would say to go to Hawaii is, well, back in the day, it used to be around the fall for Halloween. They used to do a big parade in the streets for Halloween in Hawaii. And we were caught up in that and we had a blast. But we went to Hawaii for 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks. And we were island hopping, running around. And we saw as much of Oahu. And my grandfather, my first husband and I, we went on the Big Island and did the whole Big Island in a day. It was wonderful, but 2.5 weeks. So I know what you're talking about, High Vibe, with that whole 2 weeks to do it justice. That's what I told my husband with Spain. We need to rent a car and spend 2 weeks, or even Italy. And she had planned to have Togo as my username. Okay, so we weren't too far off. December is peak season. The best weather is off-peak February through May, and then September through November. Okay, good to know with the heat. Y'all, we're getting some stuff from Chanel. Now, I have a coworker that is from Vietnam region. She also says the best time to come there is when it's not rainy season. So the February to May, she says is the best time when it's not too hot and muggy and when it's, you know, not the monsoon season. I've been to East African countries. Last year, my birthday trip was supposed to be to Zanzibar, Tanzania. I had to cancel last minute. Oh my gosh. My 2020 trip was supposed to be to Ghana. No. So Italy sounds fun. Yeah, I want to do Italy, but I want to do Italy a little bit different. You know, I'm a little bit different. Me and my dad did 2 weeks in Spain, 1 week in Italy in December of 22. Oh, that's awesome, Ari. That's awesome. I've traveled extensively throughout Asia. I've been to Europe and the Caribbean. I'm looking forward to going to Africa. Hey, the name is there. You're making it into fruition. We just came back recently from Mexico. Well, girl, how was it going in? Because I heard there's extra paperwork now. How is it going into Mexico? I know coming out is easy, but going in, it might be a little difficult. Need to go back to Italy, but I want to go to northern Italy this time since I went to Rome last time. I pray that it will. Yeah, we're with you. We're with you to go to Africa. I lived in Tunisia before. Living in Africa is certainly an experience. Well, girl, I don't know. I mean, people who have moved, and I watch people's videos who've moved to Africa and moved to foreign countries. And it's like, the thing that gets to me is like, these people didn't do any research. These people didn't do any research of the region or where they were going to be staying. It was smooth for you? Okay, yeah, it was smooth for me too when people asked when I went to Costa Rica. Last year, my husband and I went to Costa Rica. I keep forgetting that trip, even though we almost ended up lost and abandoned in the forest. Because the GPS took us through the forest to bypass traffic. Don't do that in a foreign country. Don't follow the GPS, even if it says it'll knock an hour off your trip. Stay on the paved roads. Anyway, people don't do much research because I saw somewhere the woman's like, oh, the water turns off at a certain time of day. I'm like, okay, that sounds like Cuba. That sounds like certain parts of Venezuela when, we were allowed to go to Venezuela. It sounds like certain parts of different countries. Did you not look at the infrastructure of where you're moving to? The people had to tell you. You had to see like water barrels at people's houses where to collect water for when the water is shut off. It's and like, oh, I didn't know what it took to get utilities. It's like you had to have looked and seen, something, and then acclimate. One lady couldn't stand the fact that if she walked out of her house, somebody's cow could be outside her door. She didn't. I'm sorry to laugh at that. I'm sorry. She said every time she opened the door, somebody's cow is either walking down the street or right at her door. And I'm like, girl, if you don't get a pail and milk that cow for that fresh milk, you better get out of here. If the cow is running free, then the milk is free. Gonna grab that pail and a little stool and get to know that cow. I've been to Cuba too. Yes, AK F-350. That was the only place I've been where they immediately knew I was an American. Girl, really? Oh, they knew I was an American when I opened my mouth in Valencia, Spain. Oh, they knew I was. Oh, girl, they, because I have, I still have my Caribbean accent. They will be like, oh, you say something, you sound a little different, but they kind of know. They kind of know. But yeah, But yeah, I just wonder with these folks, and I love the adventure. I love the people who have kids. Here's my new, if y'all look at my YouTube algorithm, if y'all saw behind the curtain, all the young people, and by young, I mean mid-30s and younger, who are moving to Thailand or Asian countries, and especially those who take their young kids and just go. I'm like, absolutely fabulous. If I had the opportunity there, yes, I would definitely go. So if I had the opportunity when my kids were younger, I would definitely have gone. But here, we're like, I'm looking at this young man, okay? This young man that is about 32. Y'all, he's an Air Force veteran, okay? He's 32. He seems real nice, chipper, good personality, okay? He moved to Thailand, not for the foolishness that everybody was moving for, but he was stationed in Germany. He was stationed in, I think he said South Korea and Boise, Idaho. Those were the three places. He said if he ever had to live in America, it would have to be Boise, Idaho. I think he said because people mind their business, but they're real neighborly. I was like, that two things. Anyway, so he went and he moved out of the city in Thailand. He didn't want to be in that party zone, vacation mode. And he said, here's one of the things he said, whatever you see on Airbnb to rent, go to the place. And he ended up with a studio apartment, large studio apartment with his own, smaller kitchen in a corner, beautiful bathroom. Y'all, he paying less than $300 a month in rent. I said, sis, you need to stop. You need to stop. Now, I say that because, he is a retired military man, okay, veterans benefits, pension, at 30 something years old. And all he paying a month is less than $300 for rent. Then he is paying $3 every other week for somebody to do his laundry. I was like, what in tarnation are we doing? What are we doing? But yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. There's another family, a husband and wife and their two kids, a son and a daughter, who moved to Thailand, and they are visiting everywhere. They just moved into their new apartment. I watch them too. I absolutely love watching the folks that have picked up their families or picked up themselves and just moved out of the country. Said the Cubans yelled at us from across the street saying, "Hey, Americans." Everywhere we went, they stopped us. Girl. To go to Africa is beautiful. It looks like a painting in real life. The colors are so vibrant, and people welcome to be back home. Oh, that was so awesome. That's so awesome. That's good to know. I used to do cruises, y'all, before COVID, and it's not because of COVID. COVID messed me up for cruising in a different way. Y'all, I had a cruise through Norway planned 2020 when COVID hit. I had a cruise planned with my husband. We had it planned, paid for, ready to go. And when COVID started rolling through, my husband was like, "We may have to cancel that trip." I said, "No, we're not canceling. I'm finally getting to go." Part of my ancestry, part of my ancestry goes through Scotland and Norway. Another part of my ancestry goes through Africa. Less is known about my African heritage, more where or what region. So I was like starting kind of like a pilgrimage tour of my ancestry and starting there. And I was like, "No, I don't want to cancel." And my husband's like, "You better cancel before we don't get our money back." My ex-husband was Tunisian, and he had no idea what he really wanted and should not have married me. Thankfully, I'm now divorced and back living in my home country in freedom. Girl, happy for that freedom. Said, I know it's beautiful in Africa. Kay Sharp said, my friend and her husband sold everything to move to Costa Rica. They're showing their children how to live purposefully. Now, Kay Sharp, I love Costa Rica to visit. My husband and I, we went there. We kind of looking and seeing if we can have international property when we retire. So it's kind of like every trip now has a purpose. So we went to Portugal. He absolutely loves Portugal. He said we could stop right now. I'm like, no, you can't choose the first thing you see. And then, I went to Spain with a girlfriend a month later. He didn't want to come. And I fell in love with Valencia, Spain. I said, I got to get you out there, but then he see all the flood and everything. I said, no, we're going to be right outside, but it's so beautiful. And then he's like, well, how about we pick something closer, maybe Costa Rica, Panama. We jumped to Costa Rica, and hubby said, ain't happening. So if your friends found a region they definitely can settle down with their kids, love it. Absolutely love it. If I could do it over again, I would have left the U.S. in my 20s instead of going to college. I would have still gone to college. Something about it. I hope I can climb Mount Kilimanjaro one day. Girl, you better send me a picture from the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Oh, I'm gonna be at the hotel at the spa. You could tell me how it was. But you heard what I said earlier. I can't breathe in them high altitudes. Wait a minute. And I am not taking no helicopter tour. I've seen too many movies. Definitely want to do a cruise. I was thinking about going to Alaska, but the Nordic ones sound good. Girl, I had the whole thing planned. That was my dream trip. One of the dream trips. Because we would fly into Amsterdam. We would spend like 3 days in Amsterdam. Then we would catch the boat and we would go. It was a 10-day cruise. We would come back to Amsterdam and we would, stay one night and then we would fly over. And then y'all, let me tell you a little secret. This is our secret. There are like stayovers that you could do with the airlines. I had just learned about it for this one. So if you have a connection that's longer than, let's say, 5 hours, and that's like a hub. So let's say you do KLM Airlines. KLM, I think, is based, let's say one of the airlines that's based out of Amsterdam. I don't know, where's Lufthansa or one of them based out of? Let's say it's really based there, or Turkish Airlines out of Istanbul. If you have a long layover, like Turkish, when you laying over in Turkey, it's sometimes 5, 6, 9 hours. The difference with Turkish Airlines is one, they have tours. So you can sign up for a tour and a tour bus. If you're laid over for 10 hours, they'll take you on a 5-hour tour free of charge. That's how it was for Turkey. Also, for those airlines, you can ask for a stayover, which means you get a hotel. You would get a hotel a little bit, maybe a little bit discounted. And you can say you can leave 2 days later on the same, time to come back to the States, but you'll be able to extend your trip there and it's no additional cost to your airfare. I was like, I was going to utilize that. And here come COVID. Part of mine is Norway, LOL 7%. I don't know. My mother's father is where our deep African roots come from. And I just want to know exactly where he was from. It's one of those, they don't talk a whole lot about the heritage. He passed too when I was 12. I know his mom was, my natural hair, that very thick hair when you all see me with it out. I got it from her. She used to have, I hear the stories of her. She used to have whalebone was the only comb that could go through her hair. And she knew how to handle her very natural hair. Absolutely love it. But I want to know more about that. And I was thinking about the, African ancestry to know exactly which region, because I want to vacation with a purpose. I want to get to places where my people are. I'm a very independent person and love solo traveling. I feel if you haven't gone somewhere at least once in your own life, you haven't lived. Going somewhere off peak time during doing tours. Yeah, I always love off peak. If y'all ever hear me, I did Europe. It was October, November. Off peak, ain't all the tourists there. It ain't clamoring for money. The streets are clear too. It was so beautiful in Valencia in November. It was wonderful. And I want to do a river cruise, y'all. Not the V folks river cruise because they are way expensive. But I learned there are river cruises. If you have a VPN, you can change it to a European country and you can see the river cruises they advertise to them, which is even half the cost of what they advertise to us here in the States. In my mid-20s, I traveled to Portugal alone when during non-peak time and did all the tours by myself, which was really fun. And it's I can't lie on the beach all day because I die of boredom. Girl, I could be on the beach all day. Give me some water, give me some shade. Girl, I could be. Make sure I have my Kindle though. I got to be reading. I would have been pissed off if I ever had a trip planned and COVID messed it up. Yes, girl. And the thing is, when y'all realize what kind of bargain shopper I am, it was one of those where the cruise needed, I guess, they wanted to be packed, so they threw out some rooms. It was the trip for 2, y'all. It was a junior suite, okay? And it was a 10-day cruise, junior suite, including airfare. Did y'all hear me? Including airfare from Atlanta. What do y'all think that I would have paid for that at a heavy discount? Junior suite, 10 days through Norway with airfare to Amsterdam, round trip from Atlanta. How much y'all think? Because if you think I paid for the two of us, it was less than $5,000. 2 adults, less than $5,000. I wanted the trip and I was hurting because I know that deal wouldn't come around, and have looked every single year since, and that deal has not come around. They're like, get out of here. Don't look. I would have gone to college later when I was more mature. I partied my 4 years. I didn't party at all. My first when I entered college, my GPA was a 3.5. My bestie, she was always better than me. She was a 3.8 average. And then I transferred colleges, and I believe I graduated with a 3.0. I was really bad about that, but I was juggling work, school, everything. So I dropped. Then when I got my master's, I was back up there, back in the game. I was a 3.7. College experience outside the classroom was fun. However, the cost is overpriced for the education offered unless you're going to be a lawyer or doctor. I guess for some, yes. And that's why I am a big proponent for community college. You could start at community college level and work your way up, or do dual enrollment while you're in high school if you can manage it. Because, yeah, I did DNA ancestry a couple years ago, and a high percentage was Nigerian. I think between 25 to 27. Yeah, but the ancestry place is now shut down. I don't know where that information goes. I'm big on my information. When you travel to Europe, do you bring your kids with you, or do they prefer not to come? When I went to Europe, it was during school time, so they couldn't. So when we went to Portugal, my eldest was in college, and of course the youngest was still in high school, and it was October. Couldn't go. But what we used to do is we used to always vacation in like the Georgia mountains or somewhere we can drive. We even drove to Louisiana from Atlanta, and had a great time. And we went to the cruise. We left the little one with, we went to a Caribbean cruise, little one with his grandparents, and then the eldest one had his own school program in Pensacola. So we drove the whole tip of Florida. We drove from Atlanta to Pensacola. That's like a 5-hour drive. And then we drove to Orlando. And then the next day we drove from Orlando to Miami. But Pensacola all the way to Pensacola to Orlando, I want to say that was 7-hour drive. It was a long drive. So we did lots of road trips. But no, the kids have not been to Europe with me. My eldest used to cruise all over with my grandparents because when he was younger and didn't have school, I was like, here's his passport, here's his parental permission letter, bye. And he used to travel. He'd been on cruises just about everywhere. Yeah. My friends and I were going on house music group Caribbean cruise that April when the lockdown started. We were beyond pissed. Girl, the trips that people had to cancel. But my trip was in June for Norway. It was in June and I was so hurt. Then last year, remember I said we went to Costa Rica. This week we were in Costa Rica last year. And 2 weeks after that was an exciting river cruise. And my husband is like, my husband doesn't like to travel back to back. I would. I'd come home, do laundry, and repack that bag, okay? And I also learned, like, if you're going on long trips, like 2.5 weeks, a lot of the hotels have great laundry service, so I just pay for a service. But he doesn't like going back to back. So when we went to Portugal in October and my girlfriend had the trip in November, I said, honey, let's go. Come with me. And he's like, no, he don't want to come stateside and then have to fly all the way to Spain. It's a good thing he didn't come because we had delay upon delay upon delay. It took us 24 hours just to get to Valencia because we missed that one connection. No fault of our own, but our flight was late getting into Madrid. Yeah, late getting into Madrid, and it would have been Madrid to Valencia. So we had to do Madrid, Barcelona, then Valencia. By then, our luggage was lost. This was my friend's only second international trip, and I'm like, we got trip insurance. Buy clothes. We have, a few clothes in the carry-on, but buy clothes and then file the insurance claim. My concern with being part of the plus-size delegation, I always tell y'all, my biggest concern is going somewhere and there isn't anything in plus size for me. But that's another reason why Valencia, Spain is quick to my heart. Because I went there, y'all, I have an unlocked phone. I went there, went to the mall. I got a SIM card for that phone. So I'm able to have local phone service and not run up my phone bill stateside. And then I walked and I'm like, I'm talking to the girl in my high school Spanish and I'm trying to ask her for, grande pantalones. Okay. And she showed me the store and it's like they had absolutely amazing clothes for plus size ladies. And I was like, oh, why did I even bring clothes? Because this is fabulous. This is fabulous. So yes, I used to travel international for work and be gone weeks at a time. I packed light and I did laundry while away. Yes. I almost missed my flight from Heathrow to Malaga for my trip because my plane from Austin was delayed going through. Girl. girl, I was gonna be pissed off if I had to stay and wait. Y'all, I now understand why people say they will pay extra not to go through Heathrow. I have not had that problem going through Paris. Okay, I've not had that delay problem with Paris. I love Paris Airport, International Airport, absolutely amazing. I could stay in the airport. But what? Yeah, we were delayed when it was actually, yeah, that was it. It was y'all follow me. It was Atlanta to Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina to Heathrow. That's where it messed up. And it would have been Heathrow to Valencia. But then it turned out to Heathrow. And then, yeah, it wasn't Madrid. It was Barcelona. And then Barcelona to Valencia. It took us 24 hours just to get to Valencia. What should have been 15-hour travel time. In Europe, most Americans are considered plus size. Girl, I thought something was very odd with me. But yes, people are shorter and more petite in Europe. And I thought that was just a myth. I'm like, there has to be some plus size people in Europe. Everybody can't be, petite. Do you ever shop on Shein? I love their plus size clothes, and many of them myself. No, where's my This is, of course, not an endorsement of this store. If I'm going to do like discount, it would definitely be Cato, Cato. Absolutely love Cato. I don't care if y'all see me in the off the shoulder. I think this is Cato too. If you see me in the off the shoulder sweater top with a little distressed look, I love Cato's fashions. I have a ton of stuff with labels still on it from Cato, because I would just go to the store and just, oh, this is cute. I'll find some place to wear this. Oh, this is cute. My husband, he just ducks his head whenever he sees the Cato bag. And I've learned to leave the Cato bag in the back seat. Not the trunk anymore, because he'll see it in the trunk now. In the back seat, and just He knows things will just appear. I flew to Birmingham when I went to London. Into Birmingham. Really? Because all I know is Birmingham comes straight to Atlanta to do anything international. Birmingham. Okay. That's a different kind of flight pattern. Birmingham. Okay. I'm thinking it's going to be Birmingham to Atlanta or Birmingham to Charlotte for you to fly into London. Birmingham, UK. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm thinking Alabama. I'm thinking Alabama. Y'all, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I was thinking Alabama right next to Georgia. Sorry. The world does not revolve around the US. I have to remember that. Now, I would like to go to Australia. Love to go to Australia. I know people are like, oh, everything, is trying to eat you in Australia. No. I really want to visit Australia. I do. I want to, all the places that I see in the reality shows, the Sydneys, the Melbourne, the Gold Coast, the New South Wales, all those places that I see. Thank you, Ari. I wasn't the only one thinking Alabama. But yeah, I want to go to Australia. I definitely want to go to Turkey. Purposefully want to go to Turkey. Absolutely. There are direct flights from Atlanta to Turkey. And from Turkey, I want to hop over to Malta just for a day or two. The way my husband and I go, we don't like the touristy things too much. We like to be around the people. So when we went to Portugal, we didn't have a hotel smack dab central Portugal. It's like 20, 30 minutes outside of Lisbon or outside of Porto. And we got to go to the coffee shop the locals would go to. We got to go to the mall. Now, y'all, in Porto, apparently where the locals hang is at the mall. The mall has the restaurants. The mall has bars in it. And everything, of course, is cooked to order. It was amazing. It was party central because there was a live band on a little stage. It was like midweek. midweek and the locals are there. I was like, yeah, we like this. We took the train to the beach and we walked from the train station to the beach. We like to blend well with the locals. And my husband one night, he was like, I'm going to grocery store. The grocery store was behind the hotel. I'm going for some snacks or whatever. I'm looking at the thing. I'm like, did the man get lost? Did he get lost? When I go out to the grocery store, he's standing there talking to the security guard, who is a black man from Africa. And apparently this side of town is where a lot of the Africans, resided in Portugal. And we got to meet them and learn so much about them. It was amazing. I want to go to Asia. Yes, definitely Asia. My son wants to go to Japan next year. So China, Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, that whole region. Yes. I just don't want it to be monsoon time. I don't want it to be rainy season. That's my only thing. I stayed countryside at first in the UK. I was studying abroad in grad school, where the 6888 was filmed. Wow, that is amazing. That is awesome. History, and you get to learn stuff. If I land in UK again, here's the other reason why I don't want to go through Heathrow. If I land in the UK again and I don't go see my old classmates that have moved there and have their families there, they will cut me off. They will block me from the friend chat. Okay. They will block me from the friend group chat. They will block me because it will be if I hear one more time that you have come through the UK and have not stopped, gotten out of the airport and come visit us, she'll disown me. I visited India during monsoon season, and the rain there was crazy. Unlike anything we have in Europe. I'm telling y'all, it's like Mother Nature just is pouring buckets. I mean, it's like beating on you. You see, it's like rivers running through. No, I don't. And then mosquitoes with the rain. Oh, no, no, no. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll rather just not go anywhere. I'd rather not go anywhere. But travels, hey, my grandfather believed, like I said in my interview with Cam earlier this week, it was one place domestically, one place international. So I've been, in Georgia, I've been to Helen. I've done the Oktoberfest, where's beer. I don't drink beer, but it's certainly beer festival time. Wine, when it was wine season is March in Georgia. As I said, the longest I've driven on a road trip is 7 hours to Poverty Point, Louisiana. Now, if you ever want to go someplace, now, some people think I'm a little rustic. Yes, it's great to go to a hotel and stuff, but some of these state parks don't sleep on their accommodations. Okay. Some of these state parks, look at it. Now, if you look up Poverty Point, and Point with an E, I think, in Louisiana, it's northern Louisiana, close to Interstate 20. You will see there's a Poverty Point State Park. They have cabins on the reservoir, and the reservoir is massive. So there's a long walking ramp to there, and you can fish. If people like fishing, you can fish. My eldest son fishes. You can fish off the side of your back porch. Basically, you could just fish right there because the entire cabin is on the water. It's absolutely amazing. And state parks are absolutely, accommodations are budget friendly. And we had an amazing time there. We went to see my husband, Mr. ElCid. His family is from the Blackfoot tribes in northern Louisiana. So you wanted to go see the mounds out there. So that's why we took that trip. And so where Poverty Point State Park was also kind of tribal lands back in the day. So that's why we also stayed there. Yeah. I might do a trip to New Zealand, but that's far east. I'll probably go. Yeah. Now, y'all, I have a friend that lives in Guam now. Ooh, child. I'm just trying to gear myself up to go visit them. Because I know Guam is absolutely amazing, but the flight is to China and back. Or the flight is to a major city, maybe Japan, and then back into Guam, the connecting flight. I got to gear myself up for that. I'm like, I was in grad school 15 years ago, but when I saw then 6888 film, it looked familiar. I searched the film location, and it was near my school. Girl, and I did do a recap of that movie, and folks really did enjoy my recap. I really appreciate everyone who watched my recap of 6888 film. I never stayed in a state park, but I will look at that. I have a state landmark passbook and lists all the national parks. I'll look into that. Yes, the state parks. Now some ain't, ain't been fixed up, done up in a while. Okay, it ain't been fixed up or done up. So some parks. So be mindful. Do your research and see on social media if anyone has been to that park recently. Now that's what I do. You did a check? Yes, check out the recap. I did that, and I did baggage claim. Baggage claim. I did that. Is that better than staying in a hotel? No, it's not. If you like conveniences, it is not better than staying in a hotel. You basically have to bring everything yourself. Some of them do provide like pots and pans, basic stuff. We ain't cooking. We just buying food and bringing it back. But we have staples like we'll do toast and eggs maybe for breakfast, and that's about it. Or we'll go out for breakfast. We went and ate. Now, Poverty Point, there's a golf country club there that we went, had amazing dinner, and we had amazing lunch there. I will preface Kendrick that the folks who were dining there, they not like us, okay? But that never stopped me from going and dining and enjoying services anywhere. But definitely, is it like Airbnb? Yes, it's like an Airbnb, but again, that is rustic. State parks, a lot of them are rustic. It is a cabin. I have done cabins in the woods, very flamboyant ones up in Georgia mountains, and I've done some rustic stuff as well. I am not putting up a tent. I'm not pitching a tent at all. But your local state parks, you can stay there. You need to bring everything and the kitchen sink while staying in some state parks. Tell them, K-Sharp. Tell them, K-Sharp. Mr. ElCid, a good cook. I'm teaching my boyfriend at the moment how to cook. Now, Moondust Angel, you always take me to a place where I don't want to go. Every time. Mr. ElCid and I went years with him not cooking. Why? Because he only knew Southern cooking, and then he went on a different kind of diet. He was juicing. That's all. He was on a liquid diet, just fresh fruit juicing, vegetables juicing. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. And I would do things very different. I would make zucchini. I'll make spaghetti out of zucchini. I would use the sweet potatoes and make spaghetti. And I would use carrots too and make spaghetti. So I would do that and saute. It's a very healthy dish and not much needed. And it's noodles, but not pasta, not, gluten and all that stuff. So he would enjoy it, but he's like, he tried to make it and he's like, honey, you don't taste like yours, so I'm not going to cook. So no, he does not cook. He is a good cook for the Southern dishes he does do, but I'm trying to teach him right now how to change his Southern dishes to make it not as unhealthy as he was taught. So let's say red beans, the way my Caribbean folks would make red beans, they're like a sweet taste. And instead of putting sugar in it, like he was taught, we would put pumpkin in it. And to kind of cut and give it a nice, flavor. But so he's kind of learning that. So yeah, Moondust Angel always takes me there. RV camping is fun too. It's fun when it's stationary. I don't like the RV. High vibe. And if you are part of the Nesto world, you will understand why I am laughing at the whole RV camping thing. There's someone out there living in an RV that is the mistress of an incarcerated man. Okay. If you're from the Nesto's world, you understand what I'm talking about. So the whole RV thing, the girl is out there RV camping now. I only did it once and not for a girl. I know state park things are not for everybody. Just like RVs are not for everybody. I like the RV stationary. I don't like the driving. I don't want to turn around. I don't want to turn, I'm bad at really turns with larger vehicles because I cut the corners real hard. And the guy who does my tires is like, I don't know why the size of your tires wear out more than the actual surface that you drive on. Just to let y'all know, I'm on the corner. Where's Southern Dishes? I'm not sure what it's same as soul. Yes, it is soul food. So it's like the greens. You'll put the meat in it. I don't eat meat anymore, so that kind of, I'm putting a lot of sugar in stuff. Like even the glazed carrots, it's not sugar. I would go and get our local honey around here, and I wouldn't put a ton of it on it, and I would season it well. So yeah. I love Jamaican chicken soup because it has pumpkin in it. It gives it such a smooth flavor. Yes. So it's kind of like I had to learn too how to try things. Try things a different way from how I was raised in cooking, and things that may not suit my lifestyle right now. I'm glad yes, yes. RV, I wanted to plan a trip with the kids to Yosemite. And I want us to actually do a road trip to Yellowstone. That is on my bucket list. But a road trip from Atlanta, the 31-hour drive, which my husband is he said no. He's like, we could fly to Salt Lake City and drive the 4 hours north. But what we not going to do is drive 31 hours to Yellowstone across the country. That's the other thing. I want to do a cross-country drive. I've done camping as a kid, thankfully don't remember, but only when I'm camping again is if I'm sleeping in an RV and a bougie one at that. I wasn't in a bougie RV, but I like the outdoors. Can do bougie and rustic. Yeah, I could do bougie. Then high vibe, you would definitely like the state park. Some of those cabins, or there's a state park in Virginia, in the mountains of Virginia, that has yurts. The round, but it is done up like marble countertops, full kitchen, glam yurts. And I'm like, daggone it. Ariana saying my grandfather used Ariadne saying my grandfather used to take us camping in RV. 3 granddaughters weren't staying in the woods for real. What's my zodiac sign? Oh, you're a Sagittarius. You put fresh pumpkin in beans? Yes, we put fresh pumpkin in the red beans. Yep. Just some cut up some of the pumpkin in there. Ooh, that's why you take me there, Moon Dust Danger, because you're a Sagittarius, so you're a fire sign, as I am. I am the leader of the zodiac as a fire sign. I got a bit up in Malaga, just sitting outside in the mountains. I ain't doing it for camping. Okay. Some people it's not. Those glam yurts sound really amazing. I would love to see them one day. Yeah, it is like glam yurts in the mountains of Virginia. It just is odd to me because it is a yurt. Let me see if I can pull it up, like a picture of it, because it is just fabulous. It is just fabulous, those yurts. And the pictures just don't do it justice. The pictures just don't do it justice. Let me see if I can share my screens. Yes, I am an Aries. I am an Aries. Let me see if I could share my screen. Let me see if I could share a window. Y'all see that? Okay, yeah, y'all could see that. See, this is not an endorsement at all. Okay, these are some glamorous yurts. Okay, these are some pictures. Dang, they have 72 pictures. Daggone it, that's a lot of pictures. Now, this may not be the exact place, but there are yurt hotels around. See all that? The yurts are around. They have their own decks and stuff. But I wanted y'all to see on the inside. And this one isn't showing me on the inside. There's one that showed me on the inside of these yurts that was decked out. that was decked out. That's too simple. That's too simple. That's still too simple. I'm telling you, these were some glamorized yurts. This one here has, you see the deck? Oh, this one, see? Table, chairs. Oh, this one has an East Asian look and feel. Mm-mm-mm. So some of them have it, and I don't see exactly the one I was looking for. But yeah, if you go to like oh, look at this one. All the green and the curtain and the lights. Wow. If you if it's glam camping, then I could do it. Just looked it up. I could do yurts. They look like the kind of bougie I'm talking about. Okay. Glad we found something for you, Ari. I can't do bugs. Fun fact, Bermuda does not have mosquitoes. Went on a tour there and explained why they don't have bugs. Why don't they have mosquitoes, girl? Is it that the water is always running? What? Glam camping is cute. Hey, Lady T-Bug. Glad to have you here. We were talking about traveling. We were talking about some ladies cannot do a state park accommodations, and some decide that they can do camping if it's glam camping. And I just showed them some, yurts that like glam camping. It's the big canvas tents. I'm trying to find the cabins. Okay, let me add it. No, that's why High Vibe talked about RVing, and I said, yeah, not like, we can't talk about that. Can't talk about that at all. So this is what I was telling you all about Poverty Point, Louisiana, the state park. You see, these are the cabins for those who like fishing. See, the cabins is a long ramp, and then the cabins are like this. It looks close, but you're not very close to the person next to you. Okay. And great sunsets, amazing views across the water. And you see how far, that's how really far they are, even though that picture makes it look like they're really close. And it's usually 2 bedrooms. And that's if you really want to fish and you just want to stay someplace. See, that's the back door. That's the back door right here. The back deck, and there's a little grill thing. That's, about as rustic as we got. But my son did catch a fish. He did catch a fish. And he did enjoy his time. We spent about a week in Poverty Point, Louisiana. And I did not know that it was Amish country in northern Louisiana. This is northern Louisiana. That is by Interstate 20. But that is a huge Amish population there too. So we went to their farmers market and we bought jams and jellies and stuff like that. If you look up Radiant Spaces, you'll see some gorgeous designs. Yes, we will. We will. I'm in the South. A place without bugs is heaven. So yes, I guess you'll be going to Bermuda. Yeah, Bermuda, like AKF350 said. I think it has to do with the flowers planted on the island. They also said Bermuda is a product of a volcanic eruption. Okay, yes. So I guess if you want to enjoy the sun, sand, and all the things, and you don't want bugs, Bermuda is the place to go. So we have an endorsement for someone in the chat that Bermuda is where it's at. So I remember High Vibe, you were looking for, suggestions. So now here's a legitimate suggestion for Bermuda. So yeah, we came in with no plan on a topic. We ended up talking about where I've been, where I'd like to go, where you have been, where you would like to go. We found out some great things about everybody in the chat who's recently been to Spain, who's been to Africa, who lived in Africa, who lived in the UK. We have trips to New Zealand planned. We have trips in yurts. We have trips in those Poverty Point cabins. We just have all kinds of trip recommendations. We talked about trip disappointments because of COVID, and we need to get back in the grind. We need to get back in the grind. Yes, high vibe Bermuda is on the research list. But my grind is either getting my husband to Spain and Italy, or Italy next. And I really want to push for Italy because I've been to Spain and I really want to push somewhere we both have not been together. Definitely. Would you ever visit? Yeah, I have tons of friends. I told you, if I get to Heathrow one more time without going to see my friends, especially one friend, because she came from the UK to visit me in Florida one time when my kids were in hand. And so if I come and her kid's already like high school and middle school, and this will be the third time I pass through the UK. If I don't come to the UK sometime soon, she would toss me out of the group chat. Okay. No questions asked. I just go and the chat would disappear or say, you have been removed. You have been removed. I want to go to Bahamas. Yes, I want to go to Bahamas. But if it's no bugs in Bermuda, I hope the Bahamas ain't got no bugs either. But I've been, but is it considered being someplace if you were there on a cruise and you spent like all day? Like I didn't spend it on, on the beach. I went and visited the town and did a tour. Is it considered visiting? I only know one person in UK and he thought I was in my mid-20s. He might throw a fit if I don't visit, if I ever go there. Okay. So I guess a few of us got to go to UK. Maybe I'll stop for a few days. Like I said, there's like I told y'all, some airlines, if that is a hub for them, you can ask them to have an extended stay that does not increase or change the price of your ticket. You can call them and ask them about that or talk to them. And so, say you want, I forgot what it's called, but I did say it earlier. It's like if you have a connection in, let's say, Paris, and your connection is like 5 hours, you say, hey, can I have a stay, or can I have a stopover? That's what most of them call it, a stopover, where instead of sitting in the airport for five hours like we did on the way to Portugal when we connected in Paris, instead of sitting there for 5 hours, you can stay in Paris for up to 3 days, and then just go back to the airport, which would have been around the same time you would have gone. So instead of sitting for 5 hours and waiting, you can just extend your time, get a hotel for the 2 or 3 days. And that's what hubby and I would do. We would stop, go stay for maybe 2 days, 3 at max, and just do the hop on, hop off bus tour. We do that. We use it as a taxi service. We see the touristy side. We go around, talk to the locals, and then we out of there. If you're going to Italy, you should consider visiting Venice. It is a gorgeous part of the country. Otherwise, you visit Verona, where you can see the houses of Romeo and Juliet. It's pretty. Romeo and Juliet. Oh, golly. What I do want to go to is there are certain parts of Piedmont, which is northern Italy. I do want to visit Rome. I do want to visit Naples, but I want to go on the other side and visit Pescara. Yes. So we will have to rent a car in Italy too. And I'm 0 for 1 right now with the whole car rental. He liked the car, but he didn't like all the places we went in the bushes in Costa Rica. K-Shop said, I count my cruise ship stops. I count them. Munda said, that's definitely where I want to go, along with Milan. Yeah, my girlfriend does Fashion Week in Milan. Girl. Stopovers are great. I can't do long flights anymore. What's considered long, aka F350? What is considered long for a flight? Lady T-Berg said, I need these tips. I'm considering joining a travel group. You certainly can. My thing is, I don't like to be tied to a travel group and do exactly what they're doing. If I do a travel group, which I have done, or a tour group, I need like my afternoons free or my mornings free for me to be able to walk and go where I want to. If the whole day is planned, then I got no breather. I got to go with them, jump on the bus at this time and do this. I understand. But I couldn't. I have a cousin in the UK. Yeah, I have family in the UK too, but I'm closer with my friends who are in the UK. I also want to go to Sicily as well, but that's southern Italy, so I might go first to northern Italy. Yeah, that's my thing, Pescara and stuff. And if I go south, I want to go to Lecce. I think that's what it's called, Lecce. I really want to go there. I don't have anyone to travel with. I'm tired of missing out. Hey, we just talked. Moondust Angel said she travels solo. And I have another girlfriend here in Atlanta. She went to I think she went to South American country solo. There are a lot of us, African American women, who have been traveling solo to all these different places. And there's a lady called Stephanie Perry on YouTube. This is not an endorsement officially, but I definitely watch her channel. She lives outside of the US 10 out of the 12 months of the year and longer now. But so double-digit flight times. I've flown to Dubai twice. Can't do that anymore. Girl, I'm trying to get my husband to the Maldives, and he said the same thing. Ugh. I don't want to travel out of the country solo. It'll be my first time. Yep, that's why my girlfriend went with me. That's why she went with me, her first international travel. As long as you're open to it. I'll travel in the States alone. Okay. I always go with my dad because I'm scared to go by myself. Need vacay friends. Okay, maybe we are coming together as vacay friends because y'all, I have a college graduate. I have a high school graduate. They both need vehicles. We are in a tight economy. So this year, if I travel, it's going to be on a tight budget. Okay? It's going to be on a tight budget. And I know how to budget, but it's going to be tight. Now, if I get myself to Hawaii, my girlfriend got me. If y'all want to do a trip to Hawaii, my girlfriend, who is, top level executive at Hilton, okay? Top level executive at Hilton. We can get there. This again is not an endorsement of Hilton, and Hilton is not sponsoring this live. But we at the Hawaii. Girlfriend, she's the hookup. She is the hookup. But yes, I definitely want to go to Sweden next year because of Love is Blind Sweden. Love is Blind Sweden. I am coming to Sweden because I need to see if all of the stuff that they're showing me on the TV screen, as beautiful as it is in this, I need to know that Sweden is living up to the hype. I need to know that Sweden is living up to the hype. Travel with ElCid. Hey, I have a friend who's a travel agent. So if y'all want us to do travel with ElCid, we could do it. We could do it. Travel with ElCid International Traveling Group. Hey, it could be domestic too, because Hawaii is domestic. We could go. We could definitely go. Tip, if you plan to travel abroad, apply for global entry. It'll make your life easier through TSA. Thank you, K Sharp. I have global entry. I cannot emphasize this more. If you are my friend and we are traveling internationally, have global entry or I will leave you behind. Okay? Global entry comes with pre-check. See, AKF 350 is in my head. In my head. It comes with TSA pre-check. So you can go bypass all the foolishness. Bypass all the foolishness. Global entry. Yes, note it down. Global entry. It is $120. It lasts for 5 years. But even if you have domestic travel, you have TSA pre-check. What global entry means is when you come back, get the global entry, Ari, it comes with the pre-check. What happens is when you come back stateside, everybody goes through immigration and customs. There is sometimes the longest line to go through to check your documents. Okay? The longest line. I'm saying documents in a certain way. Shout out to those in the Nesto sector. In the documents, sometimes 5 planes land at the same dang time. That means hundreds of people to go through customs and immigration. But if you have your global entry, okay? If you have your global entry, that means you go through a separate line. You go up to a counter, you have your global entry card, you scan it, and you get a ticket and you go through the express line where they just check and say, hey, are you coming back? Do you have anything perishable, flammable, da-da-da-da-da? No, sir, I don't. Thank you very much. Because they have all of your information in the system. they have all your information in the system. The easiest way, the way we did it for global entry, is when we were coming back from Costa Rica, we did our interview. So you apply, they give you an approval. After you've been approved, it's usually within 30 days. You can set up an appointment at the airport or at a local Secretary of State office. Yes, you apply online. Just look up global entry. You apply online. You pay $120. They'll ask you for your birth date, your driver's license number, all that stuff, your last known address for the last 5 years. They will ask about it. If you would have to go to an airport, or you could do it online. Now, if you are, as Lady T-Bug says, if you are in a country town, they may be able to do your interview online. They may. They will tell you where you can go to get it done. Okay? Yes, you do have a passport. They need your passport number for all of this. They are gathering, they're getting in your business. So when you come through, they already have the business, so they don't give you the business when you're coming back through. Okay? They will tell you, yep, I did my interview. Upon my return from Curacao, no appointment needed. Took 5 minutes, got my card in less than 2 weeks. Yes, it don't take long. It don't take long at all. And the reason why I say that a local office, because my girlfriend, I'm in a country town. She had to go to Atlanta. She either had to pick the airport or she had to pick an office building in downtown Atlanta, which she picked that because she didn't want to drive to the airport. And she did her interview there, and that was it. But on my way back through Fort Lauderdale, when I re-entered the country, my husband and I, we did it. We got our global entry card. We got our TSA pre-check number. Girl, I have been only flying domestically since then, but I have been TSA pre-check all over. You may have to go to Jacksonville. Well, it depends on the government building, okay? It depends on where they would send you to a government building, but it doesn't take more than 10 minutes, that whole interview. And for me, it took 10 minutes because there was one lady ahead of me. Now, we did this between connections, which I do not advise unless your connection is at least 3 hours. We were delayed and all that, but we still went through the, global entry interview. The problem is, some way, somehow, global entry had my current address as my place of birth. But the guy, he's like, we know. He's like, the system does foolish things. We know. So if you see like a group of 5 people standing on the side, they'll ask you, where have you visited internationally in the 5 years? Where have you gone? What is your last, what was your address? They asked me that. What was your address when you graduated college? I was like, dang. Okay, I thought y'all only go back 10 years. But again, as I told you guys, I was born in a Caribbean country and I migrated here, so there are certain questions I would have been asked that my husband was not asked. My husband wasn't asked a daggone thing other than where you're coming from. He's at Costa Rica. He said, okay, thank you, sir. Here's your TSA number, and you'll get your global entry card. I was like, dang. Then I'm standing there and he's asking me all these questions. But yeah, I have my global entry card. I would show it to you, but I don't want y'all knowing. I want y'all seeing the first name. Y'all already know the ElCid. But yes, it is seamless. And when you come back, you would appreciate it when you're coming back through the airport with everybody going through customs and immigration. The longest line you'll have to wait for is for your bags to come up. Your bags to come up that you did check. And I check bags on international flights because my thing is y'all will find my bag and I'll get my bag back. Ain't nothing in the bag that you would want. But yeah, please, if you are traveling with me, definitely. So y'all, once I get this channel monetized, and we are not far. I believe I am at 430. So just need 70 more, at least, plus 70 plus people. Once we get a membership stuff, we'll talk about traveling. We'll talk about a travel group. I mean, I told you I want to go to Sweden. And we definitely could look at Hawaii if folks want to go. But my thing with Hawaii is I like to do Hawaii in October, or I like to do Hawaii elsewhere. But y'all, my other dream trip, this is the third dream trip, this is the only time you'll hear me talking about an R and a V. I want to get a camper van and do the entire island of Iceland for 14 days. That's the only time I do that because there's no real places to stay. There's places to stay along the way, but not where I want to stop. It's not abundant, I should say. It's not huge unless you're at a major city. And they have lots of places for you to park. But yes, I would definitely love to do Iceland 2 weeks, camper van, and do the entire island 2 weeks. My son said he down, so we gonna see. But that's one of my dream trips. I use my global entry card for flight travel because I don't have a real ID. That process was paused when I had to renew my license. Oh, okay. But yes, it is a real ID. Sweden is good food. I want to go there too, girl. It's the scenery too. And the people, if I go there, you know, this is a shout out to the Love is Blind Sweden people. If I go to Sweden, I'm going to let folks know I'm coming to Sweden. And I'm going to want to interview some of the Love is Blind, my favorite couples from the first season. And that includes Amanda and her husband. Y'all may, you know, find it, you know, weird or whatever, but I like them. And the married Jakob, I definitely want Jakob and his wife. Definitely would love to interview them. And, you know, I would totally have a translator. I don't care what it takes. I would definitely have that interview. Yes, I want to see the Northern Lights. And I want to, I got to go where it's cold. I don't mind it, but you see, I want experiences. I'll go where it's cold. It's got to be great cabins. It's got to be very insulated because I don't want to feel the cold when I'm inside. Cabins, hotel, whatever it is. And I also want like it be a place where I can learn some things. Like I want to learn to go outside and how do you cut the ice to make an igloo? I ain't staying in the igloo, okay? I am not staying in that igloo, but I do want to be able to learn how do you cut the ice? How do you get it, you know, How do you get it to make it into an igloo? How does it not freeze over? I'm not dipping. I'm not doing a cold dip. I'm not cutting a hole in the middle and dipping it. No. But what I will do is go and totally that I want you to interview Sergio and I want you to don't want you to hold back either. I don't have to hold back with Sergio. Sergio's thing is don't come at me. Sergio seems like a man who will answer any question. He knows things ain't looking as it should. But he don't want you to come at him like, why did you do your wife that? No, that ain't how I talk to people either. But I would certainly like to get into his mind and see how did he feel when that was happening. If y'all don't know, Love is Blind, season 1, Sergio is with Amanda. That is his wife. They have a kid. But at the time of the show, by the time of the reunion, Amanda was pregnant. And he also found out that a lady he was seeing before the show had a baby for him as well. She wished to stay out of the media. He was not going to mention anything, but he believed another cast member put his business on Front Street and in order to make him look bad and so forth. But he is co-parenting. He and Amanda are together co-parenting and everything. It seems they have a wonderful relationship. So I am totally happy. Now, Sergio's living quarters, you had to climb up the kitchen counter to get to the bedroom behind the wall. Now that we're going to have to talk about. That, I'm like, why would we even? But but Sergio, yes, Lady T-Bug is pulling it out now. Yay, yay. We got Lady T-Bug getting this global entry. Y'all not going to leave me. No, we're not. That's worse than Tyler. I told you all the international Love is Blind is spicy. Y'all didn't want to hear me. Y'all didn't want to hear me, but he didn't know he had the kid. The lady was looking for her. I think Amanda is pregnant with their second child last I saw. Yes, Amanda is expecting their second child. But yeah, it was a young lady he was with while he was in Spain for just a period of time. He was working there and turns out she got pregnant and she did, you know, have the child and she notified him and he wasn't going to be with her, but he certainly was looking for love. And Amanda is such a graceful, amazing woman and they are amazing parents together and co-parents. Which is great, but I need to talk to some folks, okay? I need to talk to some folks. None of that. I'm getting ready so I don't have to get ready. Girl, yes. You won't need a global entry if we decide to do Hawaii first. Now, y'all, the last time I saw Hawaii, the best time was the last week of January, first week of February. That's the last time I saw Hawaii at a great rate. Great rate for me coming from Atlanta. It was $700 on Delta. I believe it was Delta. $700 round trip on Delta, stopping in either Vegas or LA. That's usually your stops, Vegas or LA from Atlanta. Now, it was a week at the DoubleTree Junior Suite or a week at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, which is a huge village on the beach of Waikiki. Either one, I wanted Waikiki Beach. I have stayed at the DoubleTree only because I love the cookies. And it was easier for my participants who were coming to a hotel. It was easier and cheaper for them to park there. So yes. Girl, I need to check out the show. Yes, you need what? Love is Blind Sweden. It's on Netflix. Love is Blind Sweden season 1. That was the drama at the reunion. Amanda came out swole. Sweden is this is probably why Mrs. Lachey, Vanessa, will keep talking baby, baby, baby. Sweden is the only one where both seasons at the reunion, somebody expecting a baby. And second season was no different. Last week of January, so I'm hearing B-Day trip next year. I don't know. That ain't my birthday, but I guess it's yours. Yes, she was my girlfriend. She called me and said, are you coming my way? I said, no. She's like, what if you're considering a vacation? It is definitely cost effective to come last week of January. I said, why? She's like, okay, we could do this. So I'm just saying, she said, generally out there in the general population, a junior suite for the week at Hilton Hawaiian Village at the time was only $1,500 for the week, a junior suite. Okay? I'm just saying. And then when I looked at the airfare, I was like, dang. But at the time, again, I had a college graduate, a high school graduate coming up, and I got to get them together for their life. So I couldn't really see myself spending, and I know I have high school graduation coming up. I couldn't spend on a trip plus airfare like that, even though, hey, but then it could be just me because I've been to Hawaii 3 times already. And I'm telling you, you could definitely do Hawaii cost effective. Hawaii is not as crippling expensive as people make it seem. There are ways to live like the local. When we spent 2.5 weeks there with a rental car, 4 adults, and at the time 1 toddler, we came back home with money. Okay, we came back home. I planned a trip. Of course, half a days they cater to you, and the time difference. We were up at 3 or 4 in the morning, hungry, and people are like, "Oh, there's a pancake spot around the corner. You can go down the street and go head to pancakes. It is dark outside, and you're telling us to walk. You're trying to get us robbed." They're like, "No. This is Hawaii. This is not Brooklyn." And we went, and it was a pancake spot, fresh orange juice, pancakes, eggs, and at the time, a couple strips of bacon. It was barely $5. Now it's probably about $8 or even $10, but even that is amazing. Okay. Then there was a all you can eat place. I wouldn't even say it's like 5 levels above a Golden Corral, but it's like gourmet dishes, and there's a whole wing for just desserts. There's a whole wing for just seafood. There's a whole wing. It was just when those places when you walk in and your head hurt because it's just too much food. That's how I was feeling at that place. And we went twice in the 2.5 weeks because if it's your birthday, you eat for free. We didn't know. We went the first time, and my grandfather was celebrating a birthday. They're like, "Well, it'll have to be your next visit." And we're like, "Hey, we're coming back." But we rented a glass bottom boat. We rented a glass bottom boat with just us as a family. Because it was off season, there wasn't much tourists. So we asked the guy, how much would it be for you to just take us out for 2 hours? And he was like, "Oh, just give me a few bucks." So I had to call my girlfriend. How much is a decent amount of few bucks for? She's like, "Oh, no. Just give him." We gave him, we tipped him, and we had a fabulous time. And we could say we had a private boat, glass bottom boat for that. Oh, thank you, Lady T-Bug. You're a good mom. I try. I need to set them off well. I did. Y'all. The high schooler graduated, which is great. He graduated with honors, so he got himself a vehicle. Okay, nothing splashy. Okay, I bought him a hoopty because you know what? You got to start somewhere. And you're a new driver. You don't need anything splashy. I don't have anything splashy. You definitely don't. So he got, got himself a little Kia. Okay. He got himself, we got him a little Kia. We bought it on auction. It was real busted up. But guess what? The busted up means you put in the sweat to put it together. No backseat. They had the backseat, but it didn't have it in the vehicle. When we picked it up, they threw the backseat. Oh yeah, we do have the backseat. Here it is. When he and Mr. ElCid cleaned it up, he learned how to put the backseat together and put it together. He cleaned it up, fixed it up. It rusted on the roof. He learned how to get rid of rust. And hey, you may have gotten this, but the upkeep and the clean of it, it is yours to do with. When I tell you that is a favorite car in the house now, yes, he isn't working yet. He's on his way. But Mr. ElCid loves to drive that car, or likes to have him drive him in the car to give him practice. His older brother, when he doesn't want to drive his big old pickup, loud in the neighborhood, he uses that car for work because it's excellent on gas. So it is the favorite car of the men in the house. Now, Mr. ElCid got his own vehicles, but he loves driving that little car, but whatever. And the oldest one, he got his pickup, but he needs a different car for work. He graduated college. Hey, so got him a little hoopty and selling his pickup. So that's how the cookie crumbles. So that's why I haven't gone on a trip yet this year. I was planning on going a certain place, Italy. We wanted to purposely travel and get a feel for it. As I told you, we want to be able to retire here and there and be able to, even if it's nowhere, we want to rent an apartment when we want to be there, because we know we could be in Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, anywhere for up to 90 days. So if we want to retire and do that, we need to learn those regions, the people. We need to learn a little bit of the language. You need to know where we can feel comfortable. Okay, we're not going to go in the summertime when it's hot as Hades, but we will go in the fall. But yes, homeschool mom. Yep, I homeschooled the high schooler from COVID when he was in middle school. I homeschooled him all the way through high school. That's my baby. That's my baby. That's my homeschool baby. But he still knows how to socialize and stuff like that. But he's a zinger. He's got my personality. He may seem quiet like Mr. ElCid, but he got my zinger personality. But other than that, yeah, that's why I haven't traveled. I was planning a trip. And, once we get to a level in this group, since you guys are really interested in the travel and so forth, maybe I'll get this travel thing together. I'll get off of here, talk to my friend who's a travel agent, kind of see how this can work, because what I don't like is people, questioning whatever. I ain't gonna be collecting nobody's funds. Not happening. You gonna handle that with the agency, and that's how you gonna do it. Not with me. But we gonna organize and get a trip together and plan it and see. And I like 7 days. Only thing I'm doing 4 days is if it's like a stopover. So when we were doing Portugal, we only did Porto for like 2 or 3 days. 3 days. But we did a wine tour all day. We thought it was a half a day wine tour. It turned out to be all day. My husband is like, when are we going home? I said, I don't know. But this is like early morning. We driving into the mountains. And when we came back, he's like, dang, that was an excellent. He's like, how much did we pay for that tour? I said, do we care? He's like, no, but how much you pay for that tour? I said, don't worry about it. It was all included. And if that tour is a part of the whole trip and you thought the trip was a bargain for what we did, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about it. But y'all, I will, once we get to that level, I will definitely consider us traveling. As I said, Hawaii is a staple. It's a staple with my friend because she's there, still there. And since you follow Stephanie Perry, are you and your hubby considering retirement abroad? We may. We just don't know. We don't know. We won't pack up and leave full time. We're not the full time gone. But definitely moving around. definitely, if we know we could only spend 90 days in the Shenzhen region, maybe spend 80 days in Italy and then go somewhere else, which we know across the water, Albania. You can go and spend time in Albania and then able to come back to Italy or back to the Shenzhen region. Shenzhen region, y'all, and I may be saying it wrong, please forgive me, is over 30 countries in Europe. So Spain, Portugal, France, basically the EU, the European Union. All those are considered one entity, and you cannot overstay 90 days in that region. So if you do go, you cannot maximize unless you have residency or so forth. That's where people will run into Portugal. Portugal is oversaturated. The hubby really loves it. If we got a place in Portugal or Spain, he would be like, we can not winter there, but you know what I mean. We could definitely be there. But I really want to hop, skip, and jump. I was considering it with Stephanie Perry, but with the state of relationships right now, I don't know how receptive other countries are to us. So, and I'm watching, like, there's a young lady called The Lady Who Travels. She's in Albania, an African-American young lady. And she really is putting me on to traveling to Albania and exploring that. When we went to Portugal and Lisbon, I didn't know how quickly the ferry was to go to Morocco. And I was like, dang, we could have been in Morocco. That's another place in Africa I really want to go to, is Morocco. My grandfather and I, before he passed, his dream trip was Africa. We had it all planned, 30 days in Africa. Part tour group, part just us. We had it planned. Unfortunately, he didn't live to see that dream, but I definitely want to go to Africa and visit there as well. But I'm an off-season traveler, y'all. Again, off-season is the most cost-effective. It's not that nothing is going on. It's that it's not as crowded. It's not as crowded as, and it's not as inflated with pricing because now, oh, here's a tourist. Here's a tourist. But what I don't do, if the funny thing with group, like my girlfriend came with one of her friends and another friend, we do hotels. We do hotels. Hotels will accommodate you. And that's what's best. My dad is an off-season traveler as well. Yes, it's not as hot, it's not as expensive, and the locals are more chill because they know you're there to just have a good time. One thing I don't do is a whole lot of museums. I'll do a quaint museum, but I will not do a very large museum. But as I said, when we plan, or when I planned our trip, I plan for, hey, we go here for the morning and then the afternoon, whatever. Or we go here, we don't do anything in the morning because in the evening, we have a dinner at this restaurant because it's known for XYZ. But I don't like planning everything for people. But I do love a good hop on, hop off bus where you go around and there's spots all over the city. I buy 2 days worth of tickets and I am hopping on and hopping off and seeing the sights and using it as my taxi service. But y'all, this has been fun. We are close to 2 hours. I know I have Never Ever Met tonight. I know I believe we're reviewing it tonight on Another Round JS. But this has been fun. We had nothing planned. Y'all didn't even tell me anything till we got here. And we realized we all love to travel and we all want to get there. And we have certainly pulled Lady T-Bug into the global entry process. We will want you back here, Lady T-Bug, to let us know when you've gotten your global entry approved and then you got your card, because we ready. We are ready. I will be, my friend who's a travel agent, he does stuff for Africa every year, but I never have the time or the scheduling for it. But High Vibe said she will retire abroad, preferably one home-based country, and bop around. When is Ready to Love back? Ready to Love is coming back August. Now, whether it's the first Friday in August, which is the first, or not. And if you do follow me on Instagram, I have put out an open invitation to everyone from Ready to Love. I use Jodeci Come and Talk to Me as my song. Come and talk to me. I really want to meet you. I just want the entire cast to come and talk to me if they will, because Cam came through on Wednesday. I hope you all have watched that interview. I hope you have. That was my first interview on this channel. And I'm hoping to have other Ready to Love, other people from Somebody's Son, which I cover, or anyone even alone, the Survivalist Show. anyone at all who would like to come and interview from those shows, can. Do I watch 90 Day Fiance? Not since it has gotten off the rails. The only 90 Day Fiance that I do watch and I like to watch is the other way, where an American is going to a foreign country and has to learn to assimilate there. That's the 90 Day Fiance I like to watch, but I haven't watched it in a while, and I haven't done. August, we're going to forget the cast. Well, if you forget the cast, I have it on my IG, all their pictures, so you won't forget it. She said, "High Vibe, I already did." Y'all, don't forget the cast. Well, you at least y'all have the cam interview, and y'all have my reel in IG where you can see the cast and say, come and talk to me. I'm hoping that some of them who I have tagged would be open to come in to talk to me. I haven't gotten any responses, so I'm hoping somebody got a good chuckle. So y'all, thank you so much for joining me. This has been fun. We have been unscripted, and I did see the young lady went to Morocco. I want to go to Morocco for the clothes because I love the clothes. I love the long dresses with the hoods. I can't remember because I saw Love is Blind Habibi. Absolutely love it. But y'all, thank you so much. We will be here next week, Friday, for another unscripted. Now we know we love travel. We're going to talk about some other things. And once the channel gets a membership, we will definitely go behind the membership wall and see if we can plan a trip next year. Of course, y'all, I don't know people's budgets. If it's not next year, it'll have to be like October or something. But I may have a concert I want to go to. Wink, wink to someone in the chat. I may have a concert I want to go to in October in Texas that I may just fly in for and see about doing that. But y'all, yes, Moon Dust Angel, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on the next one.